Friends, this is Mehmet Akif Ersoy. I was born in Istanbul, Fatih, in 1873. I'm a poet, intellectual, writer and translator. I'm the author of the Turkish national anthem that you all know. Would you like to know me better? My father is Mehmet Tahir Efendi, one of the professors of the time, who came to Istanbul from Albania for education at a young age. The name Tahir, which means clean, was added to the name of my dear father, who was known for his order, discipline and cleanness. My mother is Emine Sherife Hanım, originally from Bukhara and from a family settled in Tokat. My dear father, whom I learned everything from him, was very fond of my interest in science and my desire to learn. I was his youngest student, listening to his lectures right next to him. I was active and so clever. After successfully completing my primary and secondary education, I enrolled in İdadi department of Mülkiye Mektebi. I lost my father while I was studying at this school, where one of the most valuable teachers of the time, Muallim Naji, taught literature. Now I had to help my mother to make a living. I entered the civil service veterinary school to take up my profession as soon as possible and start my life. So I would become a veterinarian and take up my profession. Our house was far off from school and I had no money to pay for transportation. I walked for miles every day. That's how I went to school. Our house was in Fatih and my school was in Halkalı. The distance was almost 20 kilometers. I would wake up early, have my breakfast and set off quickly. I was on time for my lesson. A big fire broke out in Fatih that year. Unstoppable flames also burned our house to ashes. I did not give up in the face of difficulties. I worked hard. On the other hand, I was helping my mother and trying not to make my brother feel the absence of my father. On the other hand, I was working and earning money in the time left from school to meet the needs of our house. I graduated with a first. I learned Arabic, Persian and French. During my school years, I was busy with sports, especially wrestling. I learned wrestling from my neighborhood friend, Kıyıcı Osman Pehlivan. I participated in long walking, running and shot put competitions, especially wrestling and swimming. I felt fit and happy with sports. In the last years of my school, my interest in poetry increased. I memorized the Quran in a short period of 6 months. During Ramadan, I used to lead the Tawarif prayers with Hatim. After my graduation, I traveled around various regions of Anatolia and Rumelia and worked on infectious animal disease. For a while, I was in Damascus and its surroundings to make the necessary purchases to meet the needs of the army. During these travels, I had the opportunity to get to know the villagers closely and had direct information about the issues of the people. These determinations and analyses were reflected in my poems and penetrated into the hearts of my readers. The poems I wrote were highly appreciated and published in magazines and newspapers. I loved reading and writing. I have taught in many schools. In the year I went to Yemen to support and help our people there, I learned that Dardanelles War was over. I was so touched that I sat down and wrote my poem, For the Sake of a Crescent Moon, O Lord, what suns are setting down. Shot and lying on his clean forehead, for the sake of a crescent, O Lord, what suns are setting down. Oh, the soldier fell to the ground for this land. It would be worth it if ancestors descended from the sky and kissed his pure forehead. How great are you that your blood saves Tawid. Only the lions of Bed were so glorious. Who will dig the makbar that will not be too narrow for you? If I say, let's bury you in history, you wouldn't fit. O martyr, son of martyr, don't ask me for a makbar. The Prophet is standing to hug you. I sincerely told our citizens that we should be together, wandering from city to city for the independence of our country. Sometimes in the sermon platforms in mosques, and sometimes in the squares. I was a deputy of Burdur in the first parliament. At the insistence of my friend Hamdullah Subhi, I decided to write our national anthem to represent our nation. I thought long and hard that night. I started to write on the walls of Tajuddin Lodge, where I was staying alone in Ankara due to financial difficulties. When I completed the national anthem and sang it on the parliamentary rostrum, everyone stood up and applauded in tears. Fear not. The anthem beginning with these lines represented the core values of my nation, its greatness, and all the beauties that our flag expresses. Independence Anthem. Fear not, the crimson flag waving in these dawns will never fade. Before the last hearth that is burning in my nation vanishes, this is the star of my people which shall shine. This is mine, only it belongs to my people. Frown not, I beseech you, O Yukoi Crescent. Please smile upon my heroic nation. Why that anger? Why that rage? Our blood which we shed for you shall not be worthy afterwards. Freedom is the right of my nation who worships God and seeks what is right. Since the beginning I have lived free. I live in freedom. What madman shall fetter me? I would be surprised. Like a roaring flood I would tremble my banks, I would exceed. I shall tear mountains apart, exceed the expanses and overflow. If the steel-armoured walls surrounded the horizons of the west, I have borders guarded by mighty chest of a believer. You are mighty, fear not. How can this faith be droned? By the single tooth beast you call civilization. My friend, do not ever let ignobles visit our homeland. Shield your chest, this graceful offence shall be stopped. Shall arise the days promised to you by Allah. Who knows, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps even sooner than the morrow. View not the soil you tread on as mere earth, recognize it. And think about the shortest 10,000s who lie so nobly beneath you. You are the son of a martyr. Take shame. Grieve not your ancestors. Unhand not, even when you're promised wells, this heavenly homeland. Who would not sacrifice their life for this paradise of a country? Martyrs would burst forth should one simply squeeze the soil. Martyrs. May God take my life, my loved ones, and all possessions from me, if he will. But let him not deprive me of my one true homeland in the world. O glorious God, the soul which my pain-stricken heart is that. No heathen's hand should ever touch the bosom of my scared temples. These Adans and their testimonies are the foundations of my religion. And may their noble sound prevail thunderously across my eternal homeland. For only then shall my fatigued tombstone, if there is one, prostrate 1,000 times in ecstasy. And tears of blood shall, O Lord, spill out from my every wound, and my lifeless body shall burst forth from the earth like an eternal spirit. Perhaps only then shall I peacefully ascend, and at long last reach the heavens. So ripple and wave like the bright dawning sky, O you glorious crescent, so that every last drop of my blood may finally be blessed and worthy. Neither you nor my kin shall ever be extinguished, for freedom is the absolute right of my ever-free flag, for independence is the absolute right of my God-worshipping nation. Mehmet Akif Ersoy. Since my poem was chosen among 724 poems, it was desired to give a cash prize. I declared that I would never accept such a thing from our state, which has just out of war and is in financial difficulties. But since it was a parliamentary decision, it had to be given to the winner of the competition. I donated them all to a charity. Later, I went to Egypt and taught Turkish language and literature at the University of Egypt. Friends, read. Read a lot. Learn new information. Become valuable people who bring beauty to their homeland and nation. Be sure to write. Write a diary. Write a poetry. Take notes from books you read. As you write down your feelings, your expressions will become stronger, and you will be able to convey what you want to tell better. Many of my books have been published. I wrote thousands of verses. I dedicated them all to my country and my nation.